by having a clarity of the processes and the operations behind it, you're much more likely to, first off, choose the software that works for you, as opposed to trying to make your systems fit into a specific software. And you're much more likely to follow through with your workflows and your systems and keep them consistent and have a good client experience and a good experience for yourself and actually working with them. Welcome to the Process to Profit podcast, where I dig into the key strategies that build successful service-based businesses. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale, I'll share practical techniques to help you overcome overwhelm, boost your income, and fall in love with your business again. Let's get your business working for you. Today, we're going to be talking about software versus systems, and why you may need one but not the other one, or what you actually need to get your business started. Software can be part of a system, but it's not the whole system, whereas the system is how your whole business is run. It's all the different pieces that come together. It's the people, it's the tools, it's the workflows that are involved. It's everything that's involved in one particular aspect of your business. That is a system. And within the system, you may have a tool or several tools to actually get the job done. And I hear a lot of new entrepreneurs, especially, getting confused around, well, what systems do I need? And they think that systems are the software. They think that the software is going to come in and solve all their problems, and it's going to be, smooth sailing. All they have to do is pick this one all-encompassing software, and it's going to solve all their problems, and it's going to do everything for them. And what I want you to understand, or what I want to help you understand, is that software is not a system. Software is a part of the system. It's not the whole system. And you may not even need software, especially when you're just getting started. You may not have an income yet. You may not have a budget for software, because a lot of these big software pieces can be really expensive. So I want to make sure that you're making good financial decisions in your business, that you're not buying software that you don't need, that you're not getting things that are overly complicated for the way that your business is currently structured. You're really just at the beginning need super simple systems to handle the processes within your business. What do I mean by that? So when you're just getting started, you probably won't have very many clients. I'm sorry, it's true. You won't have a ton of clients that you have to keep track of. You will probably be posting a lot to social media to try to get more clients. You'll probably have a lot of other lead generation activities that you're doing. So what you need to do is build systems around those activities that you're doing. An example of this is in my business, I have a VA that I have hired. Even though I'm still in the earliest stages of my business, I knew that lead generation was going to be a big thing in my business. So I wanted to make sure that I had someone that was dedicated to helping me find leads to work with. So we created a system where I wrote out an SOP, a standard operating procedure for him, for the types of people that I was looking for, the types of, work that I want them to do, the types of audience that I want them to have, and then also the places that I want him to go and find them. So Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, and LinkedIn are the places that I asked him to look for these leads that follow this criteria. And then within that, he then adds those qualified leads to a spreadsheet for me to go back and actually follow up with them. First to vet them and make sure that it makes sense, and then go back and follow up with them. So the system is he goes and finds the leads in whatever tool, adds them to the spreadsheet, and then I go in and I review the spreadsheet. And the only tool or software that we're using is Google Sheets. We're not using any sort of CRM. We're not using any sort of project management tool. We're just using Google Sheets as a tool. And then the whole system is all of those steps in between. So understanding the difference between a system and software is going to be really important while you're, especially in the beginning stages of building your business. So how do you figure out which systems you need? Often entrepreneurs want to jump to the easiest and quickest solution, but it may not be the right solution. It's really easy to get distracted by all of the marketing and all of the people that are talking about all of the things that these tools do and the software does. And it's really important for you to take a step back. First, think about the source of the information that you're looking at. Is it coming directly from the software itself, telling you that you need their software? Is it coming from someone who might maybe get an affiliate commission for that software? Is it some sort of biased review that they're giving you, because then if you click on their link, then they get an affiliate commission? So you really need to do your due diligence and consider, where is this information coming from? Is it a valid source? Just like anything in life, is it a valid source of information, or do they have some sort of bias that I need to be aware of? And just because they have a bias doesn't mean that they're necessarily a bad source, but you want to make sure that you're really taking that into consideration when you're looking at all of these options for your business. The other problem is when entrepreneurs, and this happens to experienced entrepreneurs also, they try to implement software without having the systems behind it to support it. For example, you go and you get a shiny, new, fancy project management tool, but you don't have a system to actually start using the project management tool. You don't have ways that you're actually breaking down and tracking your work and tracking your goals. And you can put those things into the tool, into the software, but if you don't have a system for figuring that stuff out, the tool isn't going to figure that out for you. It's just going to help you organize it once you've already figured it out. So you need a system to support the software or the tool that you're actually implementing. You can't just throw a tool at a problem or a piece of software and say, okay, the problem's solved, I don't have to do anything else to it. You really have to make sure that you have a software. You really have to make sure that you have a system behind the software to support whatever the process or the workflow is that you're trying to make easier with the software itself. So it's really important that you focus on systems first in order to make sure that you have clarity on your business operations. How do you actually want your business to run? What do you want those touch points for the customers to be? What do you want your projects to look like? How do you want to set your goals in your business? It's important to have all of that figured out before you go and select a piece of software to actually use. Also, by figuring out your systems first, you can identify any opportunities for streamlining, any inefficiencies that are happening. It'll help you figure out how to make your business more scalable by having these, defined, streamlined systems within your business first. It'll help you give consistency on the experience that your clients are getting if you have a defined process and a defined system for how you handle, say, incoming leads, how you handle onboarding your clients, how you actually handle the client experience once they do start working with you. Having systems in place for all of this first will make a big difference in how you implement any software that you add down the line. And it also will help you reduce your mental load and stress by understanding your workflows and your processes and your systems before you start implementing the software, because the software can make it much more complicated. At the same time, it may be making it more simple, because the software might have a lot of options that maybe you didn't consider or you weren't sure you needed. So by having a clarity of the processes and the operations behind it, you're much more likely to, first off, choose the software that works for you, as opposed to trying to make your systems fit into a specific software. And you're much more likely to follow through with your workflows and your systems and keep them consistent and have a good client experience and a good experience for yourself and actually working with them. So what are some signs that your business is actually ready for software in addition to the systems that you already have? Well, first, you want to make sure that you have systems in place. You want to make sure that you understand how clients are coming to you, what you're doing once they actually do come to you, what your processes for managing the client experience, and how you're offboarding your clients. So what does that look like when someone is finished working with you? What does that process look like? You want to make sure that all of those systems, those processes are in place so that they're defined, because that will help you decide which software you actually need in your business, because you'll better understand how you want it to work, how your brain works, how you think through things, and that will help you pick the right system for you. I was working with a client who knew that she wanted a project management system. She already had 2 admins that were working with her business, and the biggest problem was that everything in her business was in her brain, right? She wasn't articulating it well to the admins that were working with her. She wasn't good at explaining to them the expectations. She was really struggling with helping them to understand the urgency behind some of the requests that she was giving. And so she knew she wanted a project management software, but she just wasn't sure which one she wanted. And so we, through our coaching sessions, actually sat down and did trials of 4 different project management systems while she kind of figured out, okay, this is working for me. I don't like this. I don't like how this one looks. These colors are weird, whatever it was that she didn't like about the system, or it wasn't the way her mind worked. So even though these project management systems all generally work the same, they do have different quirks and different ways of looking at the information and different setups. And so it was really important that I sat with her to work through and to try all of these different systems, because the one that she thought she wanted at the beginning was not the one that she ended up with. She ended up with Asana because that was the one that she liked the most, as opposed to a different one that didn't look the same and didn't quite work the same. So it's important that you understand how your mind works, what your processes are, how you want to manage information and handle information. If you have other people in your business and how they need to handle and see the information, you have to have all of that knowledge and all of that sort of documented before you can start deciding on a piece of software to add to your business so that it actually fits in with the way your business runs and what you actually need it to do. So when you're picking software for your business, there's some tips that you can keep in mind when you're starting to look at them and consider them, because there's a lot of options out there. Even for the same thing, there's dozens and dozens of different tools out there that kind of do the same thing. When you're looking at pieces of software, there are some tips that you can kind of keep in mind. You want to make sure it aligns with your existing systems. You want to make sure that any piece of software that you get can talk to the systems that you already have, or the tools that you already have, or the software that you already have. So that may mean using a Zapier integration. That may mean, a already built-in option for the tools to connect to each other. So just make sure that the tools align with each other and that they don't, that they're easy to connect, because you're always going to want to be passing information between different tools. You want to make sure that they can talk to each other somehow. You want to make sure that your tool that you're implementing or your software solves a specific problem. So don't look at these, all-encompassing, all-inclusive tools that solve every problem if you don't understand the specific problem that you're trying to solve. Because a lot of those all-in-one tools, I find, do a lot of things, but they don't necessarily do them all well. So if you understand the problem that you're trying to solve, it's a lot easier to go test out a tool and say, oh, this may do all the things, but the one thing that I really need it to do, it doesn't do very well, so it's not the right fit for me. So you want to make sure that you're understanding the specific problem that you want this tool to solve for you, so that you can go in with a specific goal in mind when you start using it. And you also want to consider the learning curve and team adoption. Not every tool is the right tool for you and for your team. I really love Notion, but I know that for most of my clients who are very new to technology, they're not super comfortable with it. I know that Notion has a pretty steep learning curve because it's based around databases and it's all about building things and customizing, and that's great with Notion, but it's not the right fit necessarily for my clients who are a little bit more hesitant to adopt new technology. They're a little bit more unsure of how things work. They're afraid of messing things up. So for me, using Notion with my clients isn't the right fit. It's the right fit for me because I'm a technology person and I understand how databases interlink with each other and page views and all of those things. But for someone who's not as comfortable with technology, Notion is not necessarily going to be the right fit. Something like Trello might be an easier adjustment for them because it's a lot simpler, or something like Asana, like my other client chose. So you always have to consider who is going to be using the tool. And if it's you plus a team, you have to make sure that not only you understand it, but that your team is also able to understand it. So the 3 tips, remember, align with existing systems, make sure that they can talk to each other, make sure that it solves a specific problem and that you're super clear on what the problem is that it's solving, and then also consider the learning curve and the adoption of any team members that you may already have or may consider having in the future. And then finally, be really cautious of those shiny new tools that are always coming out, because they're always coming out with new tools and new software. So you want to make sure that you're choosing the tool that's right for you and not just because, oh, it's new and it's shiny and they're having a deal and a discount. Make sure that you're really investigating the tool. Do a free trial if you can. Make sure that it's the right tool for the system within your business and that it's the right tool for you and the way that you work and the way that your team works. So if you're just getting started in your business, I highly recommend just starting with something simple like a spreadsheet. Google Sheets is really easy to use. Really keeping it as simple as possible and focusing instead on building your business. Focus instead on those client generating activities. What are you doing to actually bring in clients, bring in the money, bring in that income that you need to then build your business and build your team? I think that it's really important for new business owners to have systems within their business and have processes within their business, but I don't think that they need to go out and immediately buy the shiny new tool as soon as they start and start focusing on building that out, as opposed to focusing on the things that are actually going to generate income and generate clients. I made this mistake when I started my business. I am a systems person, so I was really excited whenever I would find a new tool, and I would spend hours, building out different things in my CRM and Dubsado. I would spend hours building out things in Notion. Even now, I still sit and spend hours. I think I spent all day Monday building out some automations in Zapier because I really wanted to make my client onboarding a little bit more seamless. And it's so easy to kind of go down that rabbit hole and lose focus on you're in business to make money and to serve people, and you want to make sure that you have systems and processes in place to find those people to serve and that need your business and that are bringing in the income for you to support your business, so that then in the future you can start understanding, okay, these are the systems and the processes that I want and that I have, and these are the tools that I could implement to actually help that process. So as a new entrepreneur, really focus on the systems and not the tools and not the software. Have the money coming in, have a couple clients going, and then you can start figuring out, okay, how do I operationalize this? How do I implement a tool for this? How do I make this more automated? It's not the focus at the beginning. At the beginning, you need to be focusing on finding those first few clients. So that's really my recommendation to new business owners is focus on finding those clients, making sure that you have your operations in place and that you are building a business that can then support all of the tools and software that you're going to add in the future. I do have a free gift for you that you can start to use that to streamline your business. It's 7 days to streamline your business. It's a free email course. You can get that at the show notes in the description below or at laurenglenn.com/resources. You can go and start that email course. It will help you understand the operations of your business and then help you find ways to streamline it more, automate it more, maybe add tools where it's right. So laurenglenn.com/resources. Before we wrap up, here's your action item for the week. I want you to take 5 minutes right now to create an email template message for you to send frequently in your business. This could be a client follow-up, a meeting recap, or a project update if you have, project-based clients. Having this template ready will help you save time and mental energy every time that you need it in the future and will be part of the system within your business where this email is required so that it's a lot easier in the future and you're not constantly trying to rewrite the same emails over and over again. You can leave space for customization because you're going to have to, but by having the basic template ready, it will really save you time and mental energy in the future. You can put it right in a Word document just to kind of keep it for the future, or a Notes app like me. I keep my whole life in the Notes app. Whatever you have to do to kind of keep it to the side, but I would really recommend, that's your homework for this week, is to go and write out at least one email template that you're sending frequently. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes. You can share your results with me on Threads. I'm at Lauren G Consulting on Threads. I will put a link in the show notes for that as well. And I would really love to hear from you. How is it going? How is your email template working out? What kind of time is it saving for you? Thanks for listening to the Process to Profit podcast. Remember, systems are your backbone of success. And I'm Lauren Glenn, and I'll talk to you again soon.